Evening and happy Shed Sunday. Sorry about all of this glare. I've added in some additional light into the garage, but because it's a white roof, everything just kind of shines off. So hopefully you can ignore that for now. Yeah, so it's getting a little bit cooler. The nights are drying out and it is time for projects. So what we got, well, the last couple of weeks pheasant season's started up, and I knocked together myself a bit of a beating stick, nicked spent cartridge off the last shoot, but something I've done with my thumbsticks in the past is built in a bit of a whistle. So just, you can see that in there. So what I thought we'd do this evening is just have a look at how I make those whistles. I have to admit, it's really hit and miss. It's not consistent. I've got the one that the stick I'm using at the moment is a bit of dogwood, and it is rock hard. Now, you make out, I tried to drill it the other day, and I bought some cheapo Poundland drill bits. And yeah, it was blunt. Hi Luke, cheers for joining. Yeah, blunt as anything, didn't manage to get any depth at all. But if you've ever been to the bushcraft show and you've been to the IOL stand, I do a little party trick with some acorns, and we can do the same thing with the just drilling a hole in the stick. So that's probably only 10 mil deep at best. So drilled in 10 mil, and then by making that V shape with your thumbs over that little cavity, we have a whistle. That's great if you've got two hands and you can access it. But what we're going to look at this evening is how to just take a branch, make a whistle. If you do have your own thumbstick and you want to add it in, it's a nice little addition. So what have we got this evening? I've got a little piece of hazel that we're going to do as a bit of a practice, and I just purely for convenience, I had a bit of dowel kicking around, so I'm going to work with what's this? So this is, I think this is about 6 mil dowel. Which means that's the size of the hole I'm going to drill, and it just makes life that little bit easier. Of course, you could sit and whittle the little, I think they call it the fipple piece, that tiny little short piece that just slots inside the mouth of the whistle. But yeah, we've got dowel ready made. Something really useful. You know, when you buy your drill bit sets, it comes with this little gauge. So managed to figure out this is getting to that stage. You need the glasses. What's in here? This is yeah. So check that, 6 mil. We've got a 6 mil bit kicking around. 6 mil bits. Got a vise. Let's cut ourselves a little section off here. What I have done is I've just popped a little offcut of leather in the vise there, so it doesn't mark the woods when we clamp it. And give it a little Japanese pull saw. Nice little short section, whistle size. But like I say, this could be the end of your thumbstick, or your foraging stick, or whatever. Yeah, or you can just make that, drill a little lanyard hole, and then you've got yourself a whistle. So short section, and again, beauty of these, you can make out it has a little pithy centre. The pull saw's got this black paint on the outside, and it leaves a horrible mess when you cut. I might just sand that off. But yeah, not too fussy. We can just make out the pith in the middle, and that's what we'll go through there. what did we say? We said it was a 6mm bit. Clamp that. Drill on charge. I mean, you could use, if you were to find something like elder that has that really pithy inside. Have I got a piece kicking around? So elder naturally has a big proportion of pith to the outer, and you can, I mean, you know, not even drilling that, I'm just pushing that in, and you can see how very quickly you make that you can make that cavity inside. You would just need to marry that up with whatever size plug or piffle piece that you need. But yeah, if you're doing it out in the woods, grab a piece of elder. We've got the beauty and the uniformity of using a drill. It has some charge. And depth wise, I'm going to go to just shy of the end of the thread on the drill bit. I'm going for a nice deep hole, should add to the volume. And I'm just finding the central pith, and I'm just going to follow that line down. Oh, he's got stuck. Let's go with that, shall we? It's never happened on Blue Peter, did it? There we go. So we've got our hole. It's off center, but I was just following the natural pith. But what that actually is going to tell me is, if you see how it's narrower on top than it is on the bottom, I'm going to carve my notch, my kind of air hole, out of the top rather than bottom. There's just going to be less material to remove. Now the trick with this one is, what we want to get is a nice clean 45-degree coming back and splitting that air hole in half. And this is where the accuracy and the kind of the finesse comes in. So I could go back to that pull saw and try and catch it there, but what I'll probably do is I'm just going to grab a knife and have at it, he says. So go back maybe about a centimetre from the end. And the beauty of this is, the shorter the distance between the air hole and the mouthpiece, the shorter bit of the pithel piece, or the plug that you need to craft. And if you are making one on the fly, you don't want to have to try and make this perfectly round and uniform diameter the whole time. Because we're using a dowel, actually it doesn't really matter, because we've got loads of that. Using the little Mora Eldris. Have to admit, I bought it as a bit of a gimmick. I've not used it that much. I just like, oh, it's nice, it's compact, makes a tidy little sort of neck knife package. But I mean, never been let down by the Moras in the past. Let's give it a go. Now, you may have come across the phrase "clean as a whistle." And now that, what that refers to, see if we can make this out, is where we've carved the hole, there's lots of little wood fibres that are still sticking out there. So a really sharp knife will help here. You want to just trim away all those fibres. So we should just see almost perfect semicircle, that little air hole. Let's see. So one way of doing it is just getting the tip of the knife in and slicing down towards you. Yeah, what's that? Off the arrow shelf. Yeah, Moras are super. You can do anything you ever need to with a Mora, can't you? You don't need to break the bank. They're bomb-proof. I use the heavy-duty clipper or companion at work. Does absolutely everything you'd never ever need. There we go. So get quite nice and clean. You can just make that out. Right, so we've got air's going in, air's coming out. What do we need to do now? We need to have a wee look at the plug that's going to go in there. Okay. So one more thing we can do before we go too far is I've just pushed that plug through and it has just pushed out a couple more fibres. So again, just a little bit of finesse, slicing away any of those rogue fibres. And now when I push the plug fully in, I've got almost like a chopping board to cut against. And that will just help with the sound. Okay. Now, what we've got here is a completely round bit of dowel. What we want to do is create a bit of a flat shelf. Otherwise, we put that plug in a blow and nothing's going to come through. But if I put a flat shelf from the top, it's just going to make this tiny little passage for the air to come through. There is probably an exact science. I do not know it. So you see what I've done? I've just trimmed a wee bit off the top. I'm going to slide that in. Put that knife down before I poke myself in the eye. And what we want to do is have that plug level with Wolf's Head, bushcraft. How are we doing? The plug level with the end of the air hole. And you can hear something starting to work there. That's a little bit awkward. What I'm probably going to do is trim this off a bit so I can get my mouth around it. And now comes the fine tuning. Also comes the hydration. Right. Something's working out. Not much air coming through. So I'm going to trim a little bit more off that shelf. Let's see how we get on. Not rocket science, but trial and error. A little bit trimming here, a little bit trimming there. Making some sort of noise. Something's happening. Now what I'm doing is I'm just slowly nudging this in and out. What I've found in the past sometimes is it doesn't have to be completely level. Sometimes it's just a wee bit offset. Oops, you've dropped it. And it works as well, as effectively. Or better even. Lots of air coming through. Starting to whistle. Slowly nudging it in a bit more. Also varying pressure. Some of them, let's see, a couple of ones I did earlier on. This one, very gentle, and it gives that low pitch. But if I blow harder, it gives that higher pitch. This short one, I really went quite low with the air hole, this sort of cavity there, and that you have to really give it some puff to get going. Where were we? Let's see if we can get this guy going now. I'm going to trim a little bit more off that shelf and see how that works. I'd be interested if you guys have any tried and tested, oh yeah, it needs to be 1/3 this, 2/3 that, bish bash bosh. Because yeah, drilling a hole, cutting a 45-degree wedge, fairly straightforward. This final part, never quite get there. Yeah. Just shaving off, little sliver by sliver. Not quite. What I might try is take some more back off that air hole. Maybe make that semicircle a little bit bigger. This is lovely whittling process. Just say, oh, perfect for winter evenings. So just made that a little bit deeper. Bit of fine tuning. It's not happening, is it? Take more off the shelf. That's it. That's our two options. We can adjust the size of the channel there. We can trim off here. Not as light as I was hoping, but a fun little whittle nonetheless. Now I'm just going to mess around with this, and if I can get it ringing true, I'll pop a little video up later on. But cheers for joining us this evening. Hopefully you've got a nice long list of projects to keep you through the winter. I'll look forward to seeing what everyone else has got going on. But yeah, for now, you take care, and I'm gonna fine tune me whistle. So what I was saying is we can adjust the shelf on this little plug. We can adjust the depth of the air hole, making sure we still got that semicircle, half circle shape there. Make sure it's trimmed up as neat as we can. Something that we didn't do, if you remember, the drill got stuck. We've probably not gone deep enough. So we said we want to go to about the depth of the thread on the drill. Pull a bit more out there, because we need plenty of room for that air to resonate around. So I'll plug my shelf. Let's give this a little go. There you are. So depth of the thread, 45-degree angle, cut, making sure you've got a nice clean semicircle there. Good shelf on the, so what have we gone? That is probably maybe a quarter of the depth of that plug. Pushing it down level with the air hole, and that is a pretty good ring. Yeah, no, chuffed with that. So what I could do here, I'm going to grab a little bit of super glue, plug that up. Let's go. Oh, Thanks, Martin. Thanks, Mike. It's not bad. This actually works. It's great. It's great when it works, isn't it? Right, a little bit of highly authentic, highly natural Gorilla Glue. Pop that on there. Let that set. Yeah, perfect. Once that is set, we'll get the pull side, just get that nice and level. We can angle the end, and like I say, we could even then drill a wee lanyard hole, and you've got a perfectly good survival whistle made on the fly in the bush, or in the shed on a Sunday. Right, folks.